to Rosie.
We have lovely new mugs, guys. And they apparently have personalities, although we're holding them the wrong way around because I'm supposed to be good morning and she's supposed to be no thanks. But I think it depends on the day.
It does, doesn't it?
Welcome to another episode of This Should Bother You.
Today we have an amazing help from
Rosie. Guys, please, we already told you when we kicked off the show that setting up cameras and microphones, it's long. It's so long, and we did it for a whole season, we held on, we said all the mistakes, we took them on our chin, but now we're like, you know what, we actually need help. And sometimes it's good to admit when you need help. You mustn't think every day that you can do everything, okay?
Yes.
So,
before we get into it, can you pass me that yellow pillow as well?
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Thank you so much.
Are you comfy now?
Yes, I am comfy. So what's been bothering you this week?
Girl! First of all, let's just get this out of the way because you guys are going to see it because I talk so much with my hands. Yes, my nail is off. It happened. I'm also just a girl. These things just happen. I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to go do my nails tomorrow. It'll be fixed.
Yes.
I just couldn't do my nails before recording. So you guys are going to have to see the real me and you're just going to have to love and accept me. I don't know what else to tell you. Okay?
Just don't look at her phone.
Yeah, right. Moving right along, what's actually been bothering me, guys, we're recording this at like 10 a.m. in the morning, 6 hours ago, as in 4 a.m. I was woken up by God knows who banging on our door and ringing our doorbell. And I'm a heavy sleeper. Can we please just
and guys,
confess
we've talked about this before when I've heard crazy stuff because I'm a light sleeper, right?
Yeah.
This time, dead asleep. I didn't hear any of this, by the way.
I texted her because usually when like crazy things happen, she can sometimes hear and then I'll text her and then we'll talk about it. I texted this woman, no response. I said, there's no way she's sleeping right now. There is no way she is asleep at this moment in time. And she was, in my moment of need. I had no one. I was.
Now you know how I feel. Now you know how I feel.
This was literally right by our door. Like, so how will you hear if someone like on the street is passing by playing loud music, but you missed our door? Our door. Anyways, guys, we don't know who it was. We don't know what happened. We're gonna get a ring camera situation so we can start seeing people who approach our door. We assume that it was just probably someone who was intoxicated and had the wrong door. But I am annoyed. If I could sue you for emotional distress, I would. And that, my dear friends, is what has been bothering me this week.
No, it's actually crazy.
What has been bothering you, darling?
So, back to our apartment. What's been bothering me is, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? No, it was Thursday night, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't office. Yeah, it was Thursday.
Yeah, I was actually explaining this to my mum last night and she bursted out laughing. Like, she was just like, So basically, so where I parked my car in this apartment complex, above me, there's like a open area, right? So the open area, you can there's like barriers and stuff, but it's like onto another road because obviously the garage goes down. So my parking spot is one of the 3 ones that have that gap, right?
Yeah, it's exposed, unlike the rest which are like completely underground.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm reversing out. I'm listening to my favorite white girl, Tate McRae, or however you say her name. I'm like reversing out. I'm like, yeah, sports car. And then I see a guy jump like Spider-Man down from the barrier into the parking spot next to me where this guy usually parks. And I'm like, huh?
I need you guys to understand how insane that is. Like, imagine a wall, okay? Sahara's car parking space. He's on the wall ledge because there's no electric fence. This is America. My South Africans, we have electric fences everywhere, okay? So this would not happen. There's no electric fence here. He's standing on that wall and he jumps onto the concrete.
And unfortunately, I start getting anxious. So I'm just like, what? And the guy jumps down and he starts doing this face where he's like, I could tell, unfortunately, the man was unhoused and looking for something to do or somewhere to do whatever he needs to do.
Which is a very big problem in Los Angeles.
Very, very big. And he was just like looking around and I was like, nah, what are you doing? Because obviously I had just left the apartment and I've been in situations, unfortunately, where I've had my house broken into, I've had my phone taken from me.
House broken in? The more you know.
Oh, she doesn't know this, but when I was younger, our house got broken into, which was quite traumatic. So that stuff really, it doesn't sit well with me. So I was just getting anxious, and obviously I tried to call my manager, but it was nearly 6 p.m. and 5 minutes to 6, they've already fucked off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, right, can't contact William. I start calling the out of hours, what's it called, people, and I'm trying to explain to this guy the situation. He doesn't understand what I'm saying. He thinks someone's parked in my parking space. I start shouting at the end of the phone call because he's now pissed me off. And at the end of the phone call, he's like, okay, ma'am, we'll get to it as soon as we can. He didn't even tell me, hey, do you want to call the police? We can call the police for you, blah, 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 blah. None of that. He's like, it was a pleasure speaking to you. I said, bye.
What pleasure?
What pleasure? What was the pleasure in all of this? Anyway, but the next day comes around, my manager's like, hey, thank you for telling me, another tenant saw the person, they call the police. Next time something like this happens, call the police. And you know me, I'm a little bit afraid of police.
I was also thinking about the same thing because she called me, guys. I was at work and I couldn't answer the call at the time because I was literally in a meeting, but I saw my phone ringing. And then I texted her and I was like, sorry, in a meeting. And then she started texting me what's going on. And I'm thinking, what am I gonna do about it? Like,
she's my police.
What am I supposed to do?
She's the
I'm just a girl. Like, but yeah, next time call the police. Don't worry, they won't.
But how do I call them? I go
911.
But what's your emergency? But there's bigger emergencies in the WhatsApp. I'm like, hey.
I also get you that I would feel bad calling the police on someone who's technically not doing anything to you.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. What is it called? When you go onto someone else's private property,
trespassing.
That's the word. So they are trespassing, but
because it's like, yeah, trespassing. Like, don't do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much. I don't know, mate. Living in America, like that, and it's fucked up because it's just like that's how they create like gaps between people. Is like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like it's all of these things. Like, when I'm trying to think about the situations like this in Iran, I'm just like, first of all, no one will trespass like that, and if someone needs help, people help each other. Whereas just here, they keep the working class, the middle class, the like houseless folks so separate from each other, and they make people afraid
of poverty.
Literally. And I think it creates such a big gap, and it makes people who are in poverty like think of themselves worse because they're being ignored and stuff like that. So I don't know. I
like accelerates. We already inherently have a class, like a sense of classism in all the little like social groups we're part of. But I think it just makes it even worse. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because here you see, you'll be in like Calabasas or the really nice parts of Beverly Hills, and then you come like, to, I don't know. Then you go to downtown Haram. It's like it's such a big difference.
I'd hate to be poor. Yeah. I'd hate to be poor anyway, but I feel like certain governments, like I feel like the UK does a good job of taking care of people who have no other means with which to take care of themselves. Like, they've got grant housing and like the NHS, even though like it takes long to get appointments and stuff, but it's still there, you know? Like, there are ways in which the government takes care of the people who are less fortunate. That just doesn't exist. Yeah. It and here's the thing, guys, we live in California, and we are the best case scenario. If you are honestly like an unhoused person who can't afford to live anywhere and can't afford healthcare, this is your best bet. We have the most like resources here, and even still, that's not enough.
Mm-hmm. No, and I was telling Pateka about this, especially when it comes to the UK. Like, I'm not gonna say who in my family, but I've had a lot of family members who have lived on council estates, and
that's the word, council.
Yeah, council. Like, they've been housed, they on benefits, like. I have a lot of family members, and I was thinking, I was like, if my family members lived here, they would not get any of that. They would literally, unfortunately, be homeless. Like, that's really horrible when you think about it.
It's heartbreaking because you walk past like, you know, certain bridges, certain like streets, whatever, have like a great population of unhoused people, and you'll see like IKEA furniture and like technology and stuff, and you can literally tell in some cases that this is not someone who, like, I don't know, fell off the rails or whatever. Like, this person actually just can't afford to put a roof over their head.
No, literally.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I remember we were walking, I think it was in Hollywood, and we were walking, and my dad looked in one of the tents, and he was like, is that a TV? And I was like, yeah, Baba, on Haram, they just don't have, like, they can't afford a house, or they don't have a car. But do you know what it is as well? The folks that, unfortunately, do end up doing, like, drugs and stuff like that as well. Like, it just makes me feel like who was it saying? People were saying that sometimes these lot do drugs just so they can sleep. and unfortunately you get addicted to it, and then you become a whole different person. So it's like, it just breaks my heart, because it's like it's the system that makes them, unfortunately. Obviously everyone has a choice in life. I'm not saying like blaming or fully the system, but
to some degree
it is the system
accelerating the problem,
and it wants to do that, unfortunately. And if you deep the world we live in, you know that it's not by accident. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's really heartbreaking to see, but unfortunately, like, yeah, America, California, like the unhoused folks, like, it's like, I've never seen it like this. And I lived in Iran, I've lived in the UK, never seen it like this. And I come from a third world country. Please, like, what, like, do more for your people.
This is a first world country, mind you.
This is a first world. Do more for it. But there's so many unhoused folks. Like, there must be a solution for this. You don't see that much in Iran like this.
Yeah.
I'm so, like, what?
It's insane. But yeah, that's
anyway,
what's been bothering us.
Yes.
Lots of household and homey situations.
Yeah.
But speaking of all the places you've lived and all the things that you've seen, today we wanted to have a little bit of a conversation about identity and the different ways in which moving has like changed that for us, and what we've seen basically of like the effects of like moving, and like what displacement can do on your identity, or what intentional moving can do on your identity and everything. So I guess my first question is like, how different do you feel like the Sahara that came here in 2021 versus the Sahara that exists now in 2025? Like, what ways in which do you think living in America has changed her?
She's learned to pick her battles, and she's learned more about people. I don't think I've lost. I'm really proud to say, and I really believe in this, that my morals, my ethics, my love, my heart is the same as it was living with my family, being with my friends in London, living in Iran. It's all been the same. I have not changed myself one bit to be a certain way or do a certain thing. And thank God I've stayed like this, and I found my people. Do you know what I mean? But over the years, I think I have a really open heart, and I think I want to give a lot of love to people. Unfortunately, I think I've been in situations where people have taken advantage of that, and I haven't deeped it until time has gone past, and I'm like, So I think being in America, the way I've changed is I've kind of like had to be smarter and clock things more quickly and be more selfish. I've had to become more selfish because, first of all, we live in a very selfish country,
Very individualistic.
Very individualistic. Not a lot of like, well, this side of America, the West Coast, I feel like it's not tough love like East Coast or London, where it's just like, you know, like, you say it how it is. People here, like, they don't like confrontation. They don't like, you know, when they see you, they're like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. Oh my God. Oh. But it's like, it's surface level. All of it's surface. There's nothing deeper to it. And I think realizing that was quite hurtful, but you clock it and you adapt, and you keep your close ones, like, very close, and you keep everyone else, because really you need to have people that will hold you accountable, people who will tell you how they feel, people who will support you when you don't ask for it, know what you're thinking, know what you need, and that's such a blessing to have, but just clock people quickly. And I think I've learned to clock people quickly, and I've become more selfish. I'm not going to yap too much, but that was
that's so fair.
What about
becoming
you?
way more self-reliant is a very big thing. I think definitely becoming more independent has come, but I feel like might not be an America thing. I think you're gonna become independent when you move somewhere where you don't have like your family, your close friends there. Like, it's just gonna happen, because no one's gonna be there to buy a car with you. No one's gonna be there to apartment hunt with you. You're just gonna have to do it. I think also becoming more withdrawn with regards to being affectionate is a change that happened within me. I'm getting her back slowly within the more like friendships that I find that make sense. But I think that was a very big change when I initially moved here, because I was super like, South Africans are very affectionate people, very friendly people, very loving people, very like kissy, touchy, lovey kind of people.
Which is so...
And let me tell you, that's not acceptable in all social circles. Yeah. And it's like, oh. And I think I had to learn that by, like, I guess being in what could have been an uncomfortable situation. It wasn't really, but it just taught me something about, like, boundaries and everything. Yeah. And I was like, okay, so we don't do this here. Cool. So I think that's one thing about me. It's like I've become more withdrawn on that topic of, like, affection and stuff like that. Yeah.
Which makes me really upset, because I think it was like in our second year of friendship, I still didn't realize how much, like, physical touch and affection she, like, liked and needed. And it rated me, because she had, because the time I've known you, you've kind of been like, I've described her as a tulip sometimes, where she kind of, like, goes in, and I feel like, oh, like, this is, because my best friend and my mum kind of as well, like, or like my godmother, like, we're not very, like, affectionate, or like my brother, we're not very, like, touchy people. So I didn't read into it too much, but I didn't realize, like, oh, my chummy needs some love and affection. She needs touch. Like, sometimes
I'm just a girl.
I know, and sometimes I just grab her or, like, touch her just so she feels like...
Now she very much knows.
Yeah, I know now.
She does not hold back.
Yeah, and I think it's and it makes me so upset, and that's not something to...
It's okay though. I think it's something you learn in different societies about, like, what are the norms here versus the norms of where you come from. So that's one way I changed. But I think one good thing I've gotten since I've moved here is, like, my sense of hustle. Americans work bloody hard. Americans work bloody hard. And I say Americans, like, nationalistic, like, broadly, whether you're from, no matter what ethnicity you're part of, like, just having grown up and being raised here or being influenced by the way of living here. And that means people work hard here, guys. And I think I learned that very quickly. Like, and people do the impossible. Like, they do the impossible and life keeps going. And I think you learn that sense of hustle, by being, like, I guess, far from, like, your sense of security, but also just by being here. Like, people have internships and they do jobs and they freelance and they manage their social lives and they somehow get 8 hours of sleep and it's long. It's so long.
Americans work really hard, but Patty works 10 times harder. So
she's gonna make me blush, but I don't.
But she does.
But so yeah, like, genuinely, like, reflecting on my journey, I was like, like, I've worked here, guys. So I think that's a great thing to have. Honestly, I think wherever I go, that sense of, like, can do, as opposed to just being, like, procrastinating or just being, like, content and, like, nothingness. I think it's a very good sense to have. Obviously, like, you need to manage it with still, like, placing emphasis in your personal relationships and everything, but I think it's a good sense of hustle to have. And putting yourself out there is a very huge thing here. It's a very, very huge thing that we've had to, like, struggle to navigate, of, like, whether it's, like, in jobs where, like, people don't care, hey? Like, they will say what they want to get from this interaction and life will move on. They will pitch themselves and life must move on.
People
like,
have no shame.
They have no scum, no shame. Like, the goal is the goal.
Literally. And I was speaking to this girl that one of these girls that I met, and we found out that she worked for a place that I was trying to apply for a job for. And she was like, oh yeah, we need to get you in there, come to the office and have a look, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yes, I've been bothering, like, the assistant. I was like, I've been bothering her with my emails. And she was like, you are not a bother. We've had people bother. And she was explaining to me about this guy. He would come into the office, he would call the office, he would email the office every week or twice a week. Like, this guy was insane. And I'm like, But that's how it happens.
Even like, I've asked people at my job, like, you know, when you're new to a place and you're like, oh, so how did you get here? So many people called applications. Oh, I just emailed and called every single place, every single day until some of them answered. I said, like, this is what I mean. Like, people work bloody hard.
No, but I'm sorry. I have pride and shame.
Well, it's not good.
It's not good.
What will those things do for you? Okay, no, shame is good. Some of you need more of it. Some of you need more shame.
I get a bit shy, which is not good, but God's got me. God knows my personality. He's not going to put me in a position where I have to sacrifice.
Don't beg me.
Please,
Don't beg me. So yeah, but another thing that I think is also quite interesting to discuss on this topic of identity is something I've noticed with whether people of different like ethnicities, mostly focus on like brown and black people, so Middle Eastern, African, etc. She can speak more on that, but what I've seen with a lot of at least like the African descendants is like they feel frozen in time because they haven't gone back to whatever their home country is recently, or maybe they never grew up there, so their only interaction or knowledge of where they're from is their parents' version of that place. And it makes me quite sad when I deep it, because I'm like, yeah, so I don't know, like another thing that I just want to discuss is like the sense of like a lot of diasporans feel stuck in time. Like the music that you referenced was released years ago. The jokes that you make, we laughed at decades ago. The things that you characterize your home and what it is to be West African, Southern African, Northern African, whatever, or what it is to be African in general, it feels almost archaic. And I wonder if you've seen that with the Iranians that you've come across here. It's almost like you want to relate, right? Because like we are fortunate enough to, well, me particularly, I grew up at home, guys. Like I became every version of myself at home. And I've been fortunate enough to visit every single year since I've moved here, multiple times, most years. So, and even I'm not on top of everything, honestly, all the time. And I can't be because I'm not home for most of the year. But I always feel the sense of like, not always, but sometimes you feel the sense of like you meet someone who there should be familiarity. You guys should be on the same page about like where you're from and what it's like. But they don't.
So, 110%, especially when it comes to the Middle Eastern and Iranian community, like 110%, especially in California. When I lived in London, not as much, because obviously Europe is closer to Iran, and would interact with a bunch of people who have been like us, have recently, not recently, but would, like before Women Life Freedom, I used to go back a lot. So we had like people who would go back and forth, like they had a house there, they had family there to visit, and proximity kind of, for some reason, makes you more closer to your culture and stuff, because it's so close, and you make more of the effort to call family, and you kind of like exports and imports are more and things like that, and so you feel more closer and you feel more connected to and up to date. California is I think
really
it's
bloody far.
Very much. And it's apparently, I may be wrong, but someone said it's like the furthest point from Iran, California, which is crazy because so many Iranians live here.
They literally call it Tehrangeles.
Literally, like it's just like so many like Iranians live here, and it's really interesting. But they left before the revolution or just after the revolution because of politics, or because they didn't want to be under the regime, which fuck the regime. But it just made me think like, oh my God, like the conversations I have with them are so different, because when you don't go back to your roots for a minute, you start holding on to that, like that past idea of it, and you start reimagining things for yourself, because the only connection you have is news channels, who are also news channels based in the West, because you know they're also political and they haven't gone back. And like I've had conversations, and like I even made an art post like a long time ago, and I was like, being Iranian isn't your surface level memes. I said being Iranian is the mountains between Esfahan and Tehran and Esfahan. It's, I don't know, it's the stained glass windows of the south. It's like the street, my grandma's street, and what that smells like. It's, do you know what I mean? It's so many things. It's so many things of nostalgia that they haven't experienced, because it's nostalgia that's recent for me, but it's non-experience for them. I don't even know if I'm making sense, but because they haven't visited for so long, they are imagining things of what Iran is like, how they want to see it.
Yeah, not what it actually is.
Yes. So it's a big disconnect, especially when the Woman Life Freedom happened. I sort of go to protest and people are holding up the king's face, like the previous king's face. I'm like, children, teenagers have died. Hold up their faces. It's like a lot of disconnect, but it's not their fault at the end of the day. It's the regime that's pushed them out, and they've become completely different human beings. And they've tried to adapt themselves to the West, because when Iranians had moved after the revolution, they would lie about their ethnicity, because a lot of Iranians would get beaten up because of the hostage crisis. So it's funny because I even have this book called The Limits of Whiteness, which talks about like Middle Easterners and Iranians in America and what they would tick, and
Caucasians apparently.
They're
I always tease Sahar about the fact that according to many jobs, she's a white woman. She's Caucasian because the box options will try to put up an example of them, but she doesn't fit into any of them except for, is it like middle? It doesn't have Middle East. It's
some of them
like
do now.
Some of them do, but they used to have non whatever, but it was implying an other, but the other was white.
Yes,
and I was
but
like,
I either pick Asian, or I pick Middle Eastern when it's there. But yeah, it's interesting, and I feel the same thing. It's really upsetting because the things that they find funny, the things that they listen to, I'm like, oh my god, this isn't. There's so much more. Like, oh, Kamran Human. This is like when we were younger in early 2000s. But it's like, no, do you know Hey Do Hedayati? You know what I mean? Like, do you know all these like new artists? Like, do you know Dorchi, these new rappers that are coming out of Iran? Like, it's just like, even the kids, I feel bad for them that are growing up, not even being able to speak Farsi.
Language and accents are a very big one. Accents are a big thing. My biggest fear moving here was changing my accent. I was determined not to. Like, so many people were like, you're going to turn to American. I said, God forbid.
God forbid.
God forbid. Because, wow, like, that would make me feel so far removed from every version of myself that I've ever known. Like, I don't know. And hey, guys, I've been thinking a lot about accents lately because my friend and I went to watch a play, another friend of mine. And, honestly, a very well-written play. I'm not going to tell you the name of that play because I'm going to critique an aspect of the play, and I really want everyone to go watch this play, okay? So, and it was beautiful, and it was the cast and the setting and the characters were meant to be Africans from different parts of West Africa. They weren't all from one part of West Africa. The story, absolutely beautiful. I actually want to read the actual play. Fantastic. Now, the accents. Yo, bow. Granted, I am not West African, okay? I can't tell you what is meant to be a very good Senegalese accent. What do I know? But my thing is, if even I, who is so far removed, can tell you that this don't sound right based on my, like, limited exposure to this accent, please, you must just know. You must just know that it was... Yeah, and we had to, like, we kept looking at each other throughout the... because we're both like, are you hearing what I'm hearing? Are you... And it's tricky because, again, I think, and I don't know much about the cast, I don't know where they descend from, etc. But I have to assume that they have limited exposure to the nuances of this accent and exposure to these countries that they're meant to be playing these characters from. And it got me thinking about, like, well, damn, like, your understanding of the inflections of this dialect are very limited. Like, like, even the things that they were saying to express, like, shock, like, instead of saying, like, they would be saying, like, I don't know how to explain it, like, even the...
Yeah, give an example.
I'm trying to think of one and I'm fighting for my life, but, like, they wouldn't, like, you know how sometimes when we express ourselves, like, how I would say, like, if they were playing a South African, instead of going yo, which would be accurate because we say yo all the time, they would be like, which is incorrect for us. That is a more West African inflection. Do you get what I mean?
I was going to say, do you not think it's also a research thing? Like, I understand people haven't gone back or have been disconnected, but do you not think, like, also if you're doing something creative and it's in front of a large audience and you know people from those countries are going to be there, do you not also think it's like a research thing and like a dialect thing?
I suppose, but here's the thing. I'm not an actress, so I don't know how hard it is to A, become someone else, and then B, speak the way that they speak. So I honestly don't know how difficult that's true, but it's like if I don't want to assume that it is a lack of willingness in, like, their research. I just think that, like, sometimes some people are good at, like, better at certain aspects of their vocation than others, maybe. Because I would assume you researched. It's a very big part of the story. Do you know what I mean?
That's also, but also it's a big thing for like, to get countries or different parts of the continent mixed up. Do you know what I mean? And kind of like say things. I think that's also a big thing. Like,
but that's the thing about not being home is that, like, you assume that this is, like, you would assume something that applies to all general West Africans applies to this country, or you would. Do you know what I mean? It's. I don't know. It could be a research thing. It could be but long story short, because even the play was about people who have left and everything like that. it just got me thinking about like the cost of leaving where you're from and how much like Lupita Nyong'o had this. She actually had a podcast. I'm saying had because they haven't released episodes in a while, but maybe season 2 is coming or whatever. And the first episode is about her accent, and she goes into detail about how she's Kenyan and she came here with this Kenyan accent, and she was not here in Los Angeles. I think she moved to New York, or somewhere in the East Coast, and she was determined to make it as an actress here in America. So she was like, I need to master an American accent because no one is going to hire me if I don't master this accent. And she worked bloody hard, and she did method acting. I thought, is Stanislavski the method acting guru? Maybe. If I'm wrong, sorry to my drama girls, please. I haven't done acting classes since I was 17. But she did method acting. So she would talk on her phone to her family in the American accent. She would do everything. She wasn't doing it in like periods of time. She did it day in, day out. Because she's like, I need to get this right. And she got it right. And she perfected it. And then when she tried to go back to her Kenyan accent, she couldn't hack it. She couldn't hack it the same way that it was when she moved here. And she speaks about how she went through this mini identity crisis because she's like, oh my God, I feel lost in my own mouth. And I thought that was such a powerful thing to say. And she obviously got over it, and like she speaks about how she had this conversation with her mother that her accent is now an amalgamation of all the places that she's been. So she sounds a little bit American. She sounds a little bit Kenyan. She sounds a little bit Mexican because she also lived in, I think it was Mexico for a period of time. She was born in one of these like LATAM/Central American countries. I'm pretty sure it's Mexico because in Black Panther she also speaks like Spanish very fluently. But so she eventually got to a place where she embraced the fact that her accent sounds like all these different parts of her, which is beautiful. But it made me think of like, damn, like accents are a very big part of your identity that is under threat when you leave home. And I hope we don't ever lose our accents.
I think it's good that we live with each other. I'm not, obviously, like, we have different accents and we're from different parts of the world, but I feel like at least it has that familiarity, and it's like, I can also, like, I've been able to clock her accent, so if I do hear anything that is lost, I'd be able to be like, Patty.
You don't sound like... She sometimes roasts me if I say something that's too English, like, because the thing about the South African English way of speaking, or at least my English way of speaking, we grew up on like colonial English teachings. We speak UK English. So a lot of the ways we pronounce English words are actually similar. Not the same. I am not from London. For all of you people who stay,
a lot of people say that to her.
Every other day. Are you from London? No, beloved. I am South African. But, you know, carry on. And she'll roast me sometimes if I sound too English in something that I say. Because again, I already have this background and then I'm around her all the time. So like sometimes the English inflection is like hella. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Rein it in. Bring it back. Bring it back. But yeah. And she's also, guys, I'm going to speak on behalf of my friend. She's very tired of you guys mocking her accent.
I love my friends, my American friends. Please stop. Because you catch me just doing a Middle Eastern Iranian accent, which actually does come out when I'm around Middle Eastern people with an accent.
Which happens, by the way. Yeah. And I feel like you sound different depending on who you're around as well. Because like when I'm at home, I'm obviously hearing a lot more Sotho, so I'm going to speak a lot more Sotho, and the way that I speak, even English, is changed by that. I even notice it in the things that I watch. When I watch a lot more South African content, I speak a lot more, like I use a lot more of like my inflections from back home, etc., than I would if I was just not consuming that content. So yeah, tap into your mom's accent, even though apparently your mom doesn't sound like she's from Iran, which is crazy.
Which is crazy. Like, she does sound like she's a Middle Eastern woman.
Definitely. But yeah, man.
Well, that was nice. This is a nice little conversation about identity.
Yeah.
So what have you been watching this week?
Oh. Speaking of consuming a lot of content from home, guys,
oh my gosh,
my new favorite show.
It's actually a good show, guys.
Adulting on Showmax. Yo, first of all, can I just say the best thing I ever did for my mental health was get a VPN, which allows me to watch Showmax. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the people who I've asked, at least 3 different people for VPN recommendations. Thank you so much. I used one of them. I don't know whose I'm using. And you have to get a paid VPN for it to actually like be worth your while. So I got a paid VPN so I could watch Showmax. And it's just been so fantastic. Because there's obviously like South African shows on Netflix and stuff, but it's not the same. Wow, guys, adulting, it's so funny, and it's so like, first of all, the very premise that it stars for men, I was already like, I'm going to like this. Like, it's so male centered, but it's brilliant. I love it. It's funny. It feels current, like back on our conversation about like being attached to an old version of your home because you don't know the current. This feels like modern day Johannesburg. Very accurate. The different characters, the different like social circles, the different class like tiers that they represent, the different struggles they represent, their humor, their jokes, the things that, like, what was the small detail that I even saw? I don't know.
It was
like,
on the car. It was the no, I don't know. Maybe
it wasn't the GP plates, but they get every small detail right. I remember one of the characters was in mourning, and he was wearing like tapo, and tapo is what we wear. Tapo is like when someone passes away in your close family, in your immediate family. I know we do it in my family. I don't know if all sorts of families do it. Probably. But you pretty much put a piece of black cloth on your clothing to represent the fact that you are mourning. And one of the characters was in mourning, and he's Zulu, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know like Zulu people do this as well. But he did it, and I was like, you see small details like this, 10 out of 10. I'm really sad because I googled whether they're getting a 4th season, and they're not. So I only have like 3 episodes.
Maybe you should make a petition.
Showmax, bring my show back, please. It's currently.
Listen, I've been in and out. I sometimes will be with her when she's watching, and I'm like, wow. So and it irritates me so much when she's watching it in front of me and I'm working behind her because I have to watch the subtitles, and I'm like, what happened? What happened? Why is he doing this? Why is he not sitting with this woman? What happened?
So much drama, guys. So much drama, but yeah, it's super entertaining. What have you been watching?
I remember watching a bunch of stuff. A lot of true crime.
As if life is not enough of a true crime.
Sorry, I was going through a crash out, and it makes me feel better when I watch other people going through crash outs, specifically white people crashing up. It's my favorite genre, if you don't know by now.
I'm pretty sure I've already roasted you about this.
You have.
Yeah.
I got tired of it because it just made me feel sick, because it was true crime and it was just a bunch of weird shit. But I'm going to talk about something that actually matters. I went and watched... because I'm a part of like the BAFTAs and stuff, they send me like screenings sometimes. So I got the opportunity to watch Jafar Panahi's, an amazing Iranian director's new film called It Was Just a Simple Mistake, or It Was Just a Mistake, something like that. Ishtabay Sadeh. And I went in there and I was like, okay, watching film. Went in there and it was political, obviously, but I was laughing through it. Ha ha, hee hee, ha ha. I got to the end, everyone was silent. I wanted to rip the skin off my body. Like, it was chillingly disgusting and uncomfortable, the ending of that film. And imagine I was hee-hee-ha-haing through all of it. Jafar Panahi, please, Iranian filmmakers, period, please stop traumatizing us. It was a fantastic film, 10 out of 10. But wow, you forget how heavy like being an Iranian is in Iran until a creative reminds you, because and the news reminds you, but being a filmmaker and tapping into the actual experience and that feeling that doesn't have words, it is something else. So shout out to the filmmakers that remind us how being an Iranian is so traumatizing. But I hope...
Shout out to the storytellers that remind us of hope.
Yes.
Even if those reminders are painful.
Yes.
Or if they're hilarious.
Yeah.
Shout out.
But you know what I was thinking about? I was like, why are Iranian films always so depressing? And then
you always say this, you know.
But my most recent film that I made, Pateka was also helping with it. I made a happy ending from it, and I was thinking I was getting sad again after the film, even though it was a fantastic film. But then I reminded, I was like, no, we can actually make happy endings. And doing that film actually proved to me that, like, also Rosie was helping on that film as well, like that it's possible to have a happy ending, and be Iranian. So it was okay. Like I was like, a lot of Iranian filmmakers are in that phase of like, we have to tell the most heart-wrenching part of
the story.
Then we'll get to the happy stuff. But that was a great film, and a 10 out of 10. I hope it wins an Academy Award like that.
I've been seeing a lot of like for your consideration campaigns.
Yeah,
for, like,
it's happening
a lot of
now.
different projects. Yeah, a lot of people are putting their foot forward.
Yeah.
So good luck to you all, and we will see who gets the noms when it's time. But the time has come, unfortunately, when we must bid you
to end.
adieu. When we must bid you farewell.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of This Should Bother You. Yeah. Shout out to Rosie!
Thank you for helping us, guys.
Yes.
Like and support and subscribe, so Rosie stays with us, okay?
Yes.
She's not going to stay with us if the show is not, like, a success. So you have to make it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye!
Bye!